Chapter 43. Selena's Complex Past. The rest of the week flowed together even better than the previous. I made it back to Cinderland for Taco Tuesday, allowing the infectious drumbeat and delicious vegetarian tacos to soothe my soul. I saw Anansi, too, although only briefly. His charisma and kindness were exactly as I had remembered, and I told him about the Vipassana retreat. Once again, his girlfriend Lilith wasn't there, but my gut told me not to point that out again. If Anansi wanted to share something, he usually did. I also caught up with Davis, a tall, soft-spoken man who I'd kept running into over the past few months. He had 2 younger kids, 2 of the coolest kids in Pune, actually, and followed a fascinating diet. For an entire day, each week, he would fast. And out of all of the times I visited Cinderland, I only once saw him eat a taco. Usually, he was drinking an interesting elixir of honey and cocoa with a dash of cayenne. No doubt, this was one reason why he was in such excellent shape. He was also one of the few people I knew in Pune who was a skilled craftsman and also had a pronounced artistic side. He made a good living at what he did. Something about him always put me at ease, which was why I invited him and his kids to my birthday party. Since Selena loved kids, it felt right, and Davis gratefully accepted my invitation. As he pointed out, it would be easy to get there on time because he was basically Selena's next-door neighbor. The following day, I had a productive 2.5-hour session with Rosella at her house. And since her place was just a couple minutes down the road from Uncle Robert's, she said she was happy to drop me off at the Wednesday night market. As usual, the market was brimming with smiles and activity. It felt like so long since I'd been to the market, and I bought some green curry from the Thai family that had a booth there. It felt good to pay for the meal with money that I'd earned just that afternoon. Having some cash padding my back pocket was always a good feeling, but the slow realization that Rosella was shaping up to be a great long-term client made me feel even better. Even though I had royalties for The Truth Beyond the Sky coming in and was keeping my expenses low, having good clients felt wonderful. People I met through hitchhiking would even buy a paperback sometimes, just from talking to me. One guy even wanted to pay me in Bitcoin. I had heard some rumblings about Bitcoin from people at Cinderland months before, but most of the talk seemed pretty eccentric. Even back then, the price felt very volatile, and I politely declined, accepting cash for a paperback of The Truth Beyond the Sky. Of course, if I had known that Bitcoin would grow over 50 times in value over the next 4 years, I would have gladly accepted his magical internet money. Although, even at the time of this writing, the long-term future of such cryptocurrency is still quite uncertain. In the midst of it all, I found some time to write more of my second book that week, even if it felt stop and go. Getting into the 3rd act was proving to be more difficult than I had anticipated. With all of the fascinating people I'd been meeting in real life, I had all kinds of character ideas for my book, and I wanted to push the envelope. In addition to strong female characters, I wanted some who were aware of the master and servant aspects of their personalities, while still having the hero's journey be the underlying backbone of the story. I also had a crucial scene at a warm pond coming up, but after taking a stab at it, I realized that I just wasn't in the right headspace to write the whole thing that day. Something else consumed my attention. I couldn't get my birthday party out of my mind. I'd already invited all of my friends, checked in with the assistant teachers that no one needed Tara's car for the weekend, and had ordered an apple pie from Island Naturals. All I had to do was go pick it up in the morning. I really wanted my birthday to be a great party. After all, it would be the first birthday party that I'd ever had without any blood relatives present. If I wasn't careful, I might start to feel homesick. I'd spoken to my parents recently. They missed me, but they understood that I was following my own unique path. Their continued emotional support meant the world to me. I felt nervous about the party, so I did what I usually do when I feel nervous. I made a list, and I spent the rest of the day doing everything I could to prepare. Tomorrow was going to be a blast. I would make sure of it. The next morning, I practically jumped out of bed. Since none of the volunteers or assistant teachers would need a second vehicle that weekend, I had been cleared for departure, and I zoomed up to Pahoa with gratitude for Tara's generosity. She didn't have to let me use her car, but she had. First, I stopped by Malama Market and picked up a party platter of fresh fruit, stoked to see that it was on sale, half off the usual price. Clearly, I had some lucky timing and picked up some forks, cups, juice, balloons, and a few other things before zipping down to Island Naturals to pick up the centerpiece, the pie. Pie is perhaps the single greatest dessert food on earth, especially if the ingredients are fresh and plant-based, and the pie waiting for me was just that. I picked it up at the back of the store, opened the container, and surveyed my pie. It was perfect. Through a braided top, I could see the succulent apple pieces beneath, and the whole creation smelled intoxicating. Back in the car, I set the pie on the passenger seat beside me, suddenly relishing in the flexibility that the occasional use of the car gave me. Someday, perhaps I would manifest an electric one. Selena and I had already agreed to do some decorating in the afternoon, and I left Pahoa with great anticipation. Even though she could be unpredictable, offering to host my party meant a lot. For the rest of the afternoon, we prepared her jungle cabin as best we could. She made some delicious guacamole, and we set up a lovely spread on her small square table, which Selena had covered with a golden cloth. The centerpiece was, of course, the pie, and beside it were the fruit plate, hummus, guacamole, chips, juice, and a huge salad that Selena had made. As I anticipated, Davis and his two kids, Sonia and Toby, who were about 9 and 6, showed up first. I had hung out with all three of them many times before at Taco Tuesday, and they had been friends with Selena before they'd even met me. Selena had also asked if we could invite a couple other people on the property. The more the merrier, right? I had considered inviting Clarence or Wayne from the community, but something stopped me. I had already had a few weeks away from the community and realized how much of a rumor mill that place could be, and I just didn't want to get involved in any more community-related drama. As much as I wanted to see them again, at the time I didn't feel it was worth it. And after all, I hadn't heard a word from them since I'd said goodbye. Was our friendship just a product of our environment? Would we still have been friends if I'd first met them at Cinderland or at a farmer's market? I'd like to think that we would have been, but it's impossible to know for sure. I also wish that Doran or Johan could have come, but they had left the island, perhaps forever. Both of them had felt like long-lost brothers to me, and I had mourned their departure. I also invited Noah, the introspective guy that I'd met at Cinderland with a superb vocabulary. He would have been a great party guest, but unfortunately, he said that he had a previous commitment. In the end, my party was rather small, but I didn't mind. After all, each person there made me feel special on my birthday, and that meant a lot. Sonia and Toby even helped me light candles for the pie. And Davis offered to take pictures with my Fujifilm camera, the first time anyone had taken a photo of me since July. Lit afire by candles, I sat down in front of the pie, closed my eyes, and blew, extinguishing them all in one breath.